Welcome, citizens, to A Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. Well, fellow Americans, the big story today, and we'll be talking about it in this big old thick script we got here. Big story today continues to be the big story from yesterday, which was also the big story from last week, which was really just the foul grand finale of the story from the last 4 years. It's been 6 days since MAGA terrorists ransacked our Capitol building, but the danger hasn't passed yet. Yesterday, the FBI released a bulletin indicating that armed protests are being planned at all 50 state capitals. Still want to be a state, Puerto Rico? There might be an opening soon. The FBI warned that the armed protests are being planned from January 16th through at least January 20th. 4 days! That's not an anti-government insurgency. That's a music festival. It's Coachella, which is really the only place it's appropriate to go shirtless in buffalo horns. And it's not just state capitals. Yesterday, members of Congress were briefed on 3 planned riots for D.C. The most concerning plot would involve insurrectionists forming a perimeter around the Capitol and the White House and the Supreme Court, and then blocking Democrats from entering the Capitol, perhaps even killing them, so that Republicans could take control of the government. What kind of plan is that? They're going to kill a bunch of people, but after that, it's just back to 7th grade civics, and we're not even going to notice? There's a reason the first article of the Constitution isn't the House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people, unless, of course, one side murders the other side, in which case it's Grand Theft Auto rules. And Congress did receive some helpful safety tips as they were reminded that the purchase of a bulletproof vest is a reimbursable expense. Good to know. Same reason Lincoln got to write off those theater tickets. For almost a week now, we've had people trying to tell us what we saw isn't what we saw, which is why today it was reassuring to hear from FBI official Stephen Colbert. Do I have that right? Let's say I have that right. Who made it clear that the MAGA maniacs who tried to overthrow the government are going to pay.
The FBI has worked hand in hand with the United States Attorney's Office and our law enforcement partners here in D.C. and across the country to arrest and charge multiple individuals who took part in the destruction. In 6 days, we have opened over 160 case files, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
That's an apt metaphor. The MAGA crowd has a lot in common with icebergs. Cold, white, and when the heat is on, they just melt before your eyes. It was validating to hear someone, anyone, take this whole thing as seriously as it deserves.
To be clear, the brutality the American people watched with shock and disbelief on the 6th will not be tolerated by the FBI. The men and women of the FBI will leave no stone unturned in this investigation.
So, MAGA heads who thought the feds were out to get you, I'm happy to say they are now. I have a feeling you'll soon be occupying another federal building for a long time. Then it was time to hear from acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, and I'm pretty sure the exact same guy again, Michael Sherwin. Am I saying Sherwin correctly? Sherwin? Sure. Okay, let's say I am. So far, the MAGA mob has been arrested for minor crimes like trespassing, which Sherwin told us things are about to get serious.
The FBI, working with the U.S. Attorney's offices across the country, and the crux of those being in D.C., we're looking at significant felony cases tied to sedition and conspiracy.
Sedition? You MAGA terrorists must be pretty proud. You're finally being treated just like those guys whose flag you love to carry. But you know who's not taking alt-right terrorism seriously at all? The president. Yesterday, he had a phone call with House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, seen here realizing that God has cursed him to be Kevin McCarthy. And instead of acknowledging what really happened, the president blamed storming the Capitol on Antifa people. What the hell are you talking about? You invited those rioters to your rally in Washington. They were wearing your shirts, your hats, waving your flag, and they cheered when you told them to go to march on the Capitol. From now on, neurologists are going to hold up pictures like this, okay, to stroke victims and say, hey, can you tell me whose supporters these are? And if they don't say they're MAGA people, you know it's time to take away their car keys. So this Antifa excuse is so ridiculous that even the normally spine-free zone of Kevin McCarthy pushed back saying, it's not Antifa, it's MAGA, I know, I was there. Finding out this late in the game that Kevin McCarthy has the ability to name reality in the face of the president's lies is like finding out that Tom Hanks in Castaway had a boat the whole time. Why didn't you use it before, you idiot? Did Wilson talk you out of it? You could have been happy with Helen Hunt. She seems very nice. Now, on the peaceful transfer of power, McCarthy told POTUS he should call Joe Biden, meet with the president-elect, and follow tradition and leave a welcome letter in the Resolute desk for his successor. Well, we actually have a copy of the first draft of the president's welcome letter. If you ever want to see democracy again, leave a wheelbarrow of chicken nuggets with the concierge at my hotel. Now, protecting the country from its deranged ruler might come down to Vice President Mike Pence, seen here at one of the president's Who Should You Murder Next rallies. House of Representatives passed a resolution today asking Pence to remove the president using the 25th Amendment. And you'd think Pence would be into the idea, considering the whole hang him thing. But you would be dead wrong, because yesterday, after days of silence, the president and Mike Pence spoke for the first time, meeting in the Oval Office, and agreed that those who broke the law and stormed the Capitol last week do not represent their policy of America first. Well, of course, this mob violence wasn't America first. It was in Germany first. So apparently, it's all water under the gallows now. I cannot fathom this type of self-destructive loyalty, but I guess it's worth it for the reward. Mike was named White House Employee of the Week. Comes with a $10 coupon to Subway and instructions to the mob so they can catch Mike Pence at Subway. With the 25th Amendment option off the table, House Democrats are set to impeach the president. And I'll catch you up on the latest in our Back by Unpopular Demand segment. Don and the Giant impeach too. Go fast. We're furious.
That was a close one.
Even though their own lives were threatened by the coup that the president instigated, only a handful of Republicans have backed removing him from office. The rest are saying, oh, there's only 7 days left. May I remind you, 7 days is a long time when you let a lunatic be the most powerful man in the world. If a grizzly bear shows up at a child's birthday party, you don't say, there's only 45 minutes left. Let's just run out the clock while he gnaws on Tyler. Make yourself bigger, Tyler. It frightens them. One former Senate aide explained that for Republicans, holding the president accountable is still politically problematic. Yes, Republican lawmakers desperately need the president's supporters to like them. I mean, their hands are tied. Almost literally. The GOP has new talking points for why they think removing the president is the wrong move.
Let's try to come together.
I think the first thing we need to do as leaders in America is lower the temperature and try to come together.
I think we need to lower the rhetoric. We need to get some unity going.
Okay, let's unify in punishing all the insurrectionists and their political leaders who legitimize their homicidal fantasies. There can be no healing until the sickness is identified and removed, and you can do it now. The tumor lost his Twitter feed. Because unity's great. I'm all for unity. So Republicans, what is your outreach to the other side? You got to ante up. You don't get to stay in the game if you don't toss in a chip of good faith. The other side is going to stop this from happening again by getting rid of the guy who caused it. What are you willing to do to help? Because so far, you have done nothing. They were simply certifying a free and fair election, an election that you knew was free and fair, but you lied about it anyway because you wanted the campaign cash and all those eyeballs, and you were afraid to make your boss and his MAGA monster mad. Your lies legitimized the fantasies of a violent, anti-democratic mob that nearly got you and your colleagues killed and did get a policeman murdered. Now you want to use your hollow calls for unity to sweep it all under the rug? Well, good luck with that, brother, because the rioters also pooped on your rugs. Now, as the press conference made clear today, the feds are arresting members of the MAGA Waffen in large numbers. To do so, the FBI has streamlined the process. They've given all their field officers a list of questions to ask all potential suspects. It's pretty simple stuff like, were you in Washington on the afternoon of January 6th? Do you believe the U.S. presidential election was stolen? And who do you root for, Indiana Jones or the melting-face Nazi guy? Now, with the help of online detectives, the FBI is slowly but surely tracking these people down and arresting them. Case in point, this jackhole in the Viking hat is named Jake Angeli. How do we know that's his name? Well, among other reasons, Angeli actually called the FBI himself to acknowledge that he was the person in photographs of the riot and told a reporter he was not afraid of arrest. Why does he think he can call the FBI and just explain away his crime?
White privilege.
Oh. Thank you, Late Show Choir. Angeli, a.k.a. the QAnon shaman, went on to explain, and even if I was arrested, wasn't Gandhi arrested a lot? Wasn't Martin Luther King Jr. arrested a lot? Wasn't Jesus arrested? Yes, for nonviolent protests. It's kind of their thing. Jesus never said, let he whose candidate did not win cast the first stone, and the second, and the third. Hang Mike Pence! Since his arrest, Angeli, a failed actor who lives with his mom, has gone on a hunger strike-ish. He won't eat in jail because he needs organic food. So you've just been arrested for trying to overthrow the government of the United States in a violent coup that killed 5 people, and you're complaining about the menu? What would you even call that?
White privilege.
Thank you. Excuse me, officer. I ordered the organic spinach frittata with the wheat toast. I got expired ham on Wonder Bread. I am telling you, this is a warning. I'm going to give this prison 0 stars. Okay, now I'm being stabbed in the ribs. That shiv better be gluten-free. How about some unity? Now brace yourself. A judge ruled in Angeli's favor. We've learned that the shaman will get his organic food. Well, that's just standard. We all remember the anonymous federal agents and what they said this summer while shoving protesters into unmarked vans.
Would you like the chicken or the fish? Chicken or the fish? Now!
We got a great show for you tonight. The former director of the FBI, James Comey, is here. Stick around.